If you're like most people, I guess, Republicans or Trump fans or patriots, you're probably wondering what in the hell is happening here. It's like they say, like drinking from a fire hose. Well, I'm here to help you, ladies and gentlemen. Things are looking much better than you can imagine, but you've got to understand what is going on here. Now, before we begin, let me take you back to what we're doing. This is called an election. You probably didn't know that, but it's called an election. And what's interesting about an election is it has nothing to do with facts. It has a lot to do with emotion and feeling and ideas and worry and hype and now social media. Let's go through the rudimentary articles of faith. Number one, there are three groups of people: people that are going to vote for Trump, people who will never vote for Trump, and people in the middle, either independents, undecideds, whatever you want to call them. People who might be poached from the Democrats. Who knows? If I told you the number of people, this will blow your mind, who say, what the hell? I'm voting for Trump. It will blow your mind. Voting is not this idea that Newt Gingrich can describe or Van Jones. It doesn't work like that. Next, if you watch cable news or anything for that matter, anything, streaming platforms, nobody is going to tell you what I'm telling you, because I'm talking about the vicissitudinal, almost the behavioral aspects of voting. And it has really nothing to do with this with this idea of, well, we're going to look at the facts and we're going to review them and we're going to no. Three groups of people: people who are going to vote for Trump, people who aren't going to vote for Trump, and by the way, people who would vote for anybody but Trump. I know this. I know people who all of a sudden feel this tremendous source of, I don't know, relief or something. They know nothing about Kamala Harris. And by the way, the word has it, we believe, that the person who is finagling to be her attorney general is Tish James. This is the New York Attorney General, Letitia Tish James. Okay, fine. You want to get caught up in that? That's terrific. Now, the next rule is, as I told you, always start off with numbers. Give me numbers. Now let's talk about polls. Polls are more accurate than anything you could ever imagine. Polls are the lifeblood of this. Now, the polls that are put out are, in many respects, they are basically propaganda instruments. They are commissioned with a result in mind so that they'll be released. You got that one? So you need a smattering. The real polls cost $1 million each, and they're only good within short periods of time in specific areas regarding specific demographics and specific time frames. That's it. And normally they also deal with a kind of a narrow version of what's happening. Brad Rung says, so sad I have so many lifelong Republicans that either won't vote for Trump or sit this one out. I forgave them for Biden this time. They make me sick. Get ready, Brad. Thank you, my friend. You're gonna meet all kinds of people. Remember, you cannot lose your mental health in this. You can't. Let them do it, not us. Let them do it. Now, let's talk about some things here. First, I could give you a list of these wonderful compilations of everything stupid that Kamala Harris has said. You've seen them, you love them, you know them, you watch them, you've heard them. Here's my question. What difference will they make now? If you hear Kamala Harris say things about whatever from before, what difference does it make? If you hear that Axios and other, I think Axios is very good. I like their stuff, but that they are going online to en masse scour and remove and expurgate all references of the border czar reference. What does that matter to the undecided independent voter? Nothing. That's inside baseball. B. Wah Cool, our Aussie friend, said, Sanguru Kamala's wisdom. Yesterday's tomorrow is today's yesterday. Just the kind of gal you want to give the suitcase to. Wow. Or the football, as we say, if you're referring to the nuclear codes. Oh, listen, coming up, and please forgive me if I give you 7,000 different ideas at one time. If I go from one to the next and then back to the first one. It's the way I think. It's the way I am. So it's the way I am. You mentioned that. There will come a time when social media play a big role. What does that mean? Everybody loves a social media trend. Have you noticed on YouTube Shorts or TikTok Shorts, there will be something everybody will want to show. For example, not too long ago, there was this trend. It was kids playing baseball, and it was a mother screaming, "Don't worry, he won't hit it," or something like that, followed by this booming home run. I saw 1,000 of these. Then there was that Beyonce song that everybody played. I saw 1,000 of those. There was a period a while back, years ago, where they showed a rat pulling a piece of pizza down subway steps. Everybody was retweeting that. Why? Because part of the magic of social media, part of it is this desire to, for lack of a better word, this desire to, I guess you'd say, to always be up to par, up to speed. What do I mean by this? When it becomes funny to imitate Kamala Harris, there are two women. Have you seen them? They're good. One is very good. She was on with Tucker one time. She looks Middle Eastern, or she has these wonderful this mascara. She does a very caustic, a very good. And there's another one who's a blonde woman who does Kamala as well, very, very well. And they both have different phrases. The point is, when the public zeroes in on the fact that she's an idiot, they will not care whether she's a Democratic idiot or a Republican idiot if she is a part of this social media scrum, this movement, whatever it is. Let me say this again to you. It just started. As everybody's saying, the Democrats are on a sugar high with her. We saw that, whatever that was last night of Biden, it was horrible. I cannot believe that they would have ever let him go live. If they did, if that was live, they are the most negligent people, and they're deliberately setting him up. So put that away. Number two, do you believe that the FBI raised testimony? He said, I'm not really sure maybe the ear injury might have been shards of glass from a shattered teleprompter. Is there any one of you who believes that there is any possibility that Donald Trump was not hit by a round, by a bullet? Is there anybody here? Anyone? Could they be mistaken? Could we not know? How do we know? Could it be something? Is there anybody who says we're not really sure about this? Anybody? Is there anybody who did this? Anybody who? Because answer my question. Anybody? Anybody? Remember when George Floyd was, they said, oh, he was absolutely killed. 100%. He was dispatched by Officer Chauvin by the knee on the neck, and it was asphyxia, and that was it. Well, what role did fentanyl or opioids? No, none. No. Could he have been withdrawing from? Oh, no, not at all. Wait a minute. How do you know? Oh, no. I was. Excuse me. You haven't even received a medical report yet. How do you know this? There was a fellow named, was it Eric Garner? I think this was a large 300-pound plus man on Staten Island who was engaged in a fight with NYPD, and he died of apparently either an asthma attack or something. And they said, oh, it was because of a chokehold. And people said, no, it's not a chokehold, because he was saying, I can't breathe. I can't. During a chokehold, you're like, it's not really a choke. It was a carotid restraint. Nobody cared. None whatsoever. That was it. So understand. So what you're going to do is this. You're going to use the same degree of, if President Trump says it was a bullet wound, if his physicians say it was a bullet, shard of glass, this is the FBI. How about Fauci saying it was a superficial wound? Okay, fine. Don't get hung up on it, but this is how these people act. Next, I thought it was despicable yesterday was what I saw at Union Station. The protest, the defacing of property, to remove the American flag, to put up the Palestinian flag, to burn the American flag? No. Everybody who was arrested was let go. If those had been Trump supporters versus a cause which, and let me say something, and I've said this to you, and I'm very clear and very unequivocal. There is a lot to be said and a lot to be discussed regarding the particular issues here. And there is a lot that has been said, that a lot of the horrors that have beset and befallen the Palestinian people. And whether you use the word genocide or massacre or war crimes, whatever it is, it's got to stop. That issue's over here. What we saw was despicable. Okay? Another issue, why did a foreign president, a foreign prime minister, get more security than our president does, Donald Trump? Does that make sense to you? I don't know what's going on here. This is the second person to, why are people addressing Congress? Zelensky and Netanyahu? Excuse me. These people should be out working for us. They should be addressing the American people as to our needs, our wants. Why are our cities falling apart? Why are there so many of these illegals running around? Excuse me. What is Bibi Netanyahu doing here? What the hell does this have to do with us? I hate to say this. Now, what I've just done is simply this. See if you can follow this. I gave you 3 different ideas that are kind of similar, but not. Number 1, I'm against the destruction of personal property for any particular cause. I don't care if it's PETA, if it's CPAC, or if it's Jews for Jesus. It doesn't matter. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't understand how people who were arrested were let go so quickly, where if it was a January 6th case, they would have been kept under the jail, like in a gulag, for 6 months. Next, I don't understand, why are we supporting foreign governments when we don't have enough money here? And the issue also remains that what is happening to the people of Palestine is an abomination. But that doesn't mean that I countenance this type of violence And did you see some of the police agents? I don't know what agency they were with, being beaten. Now, if those were all legitimate Palestinian protesters, I'd be surprised. If those aren't Antifa elements or Antifa like, I would be surprised. Sparky says, murmurations are fascinating, just testing. The word murmuration was once blocked from super chats on your channel. Glad to see that it's allowed now. Murmurations come, as you know, from the starlings. They murmur, the sound of them in this wonderful kind of a hum. Brad Rung says, chickens for KFC is the same as gays for Gaza. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that was he thought that was a big and that, of course, is the line. The line is people who are protesting on behalf of Palestinians are dupes for Iran. They don't know what's going on, and gays would all be, hurt, harmed, or whatever it was if they were in that area. So those are the memes. Completely distracting, completely moving away from the issue at hand. Also interesting to see Nancy Pelosi wasn't there. What are the Democrats afraid of? What are they afraid of? Minnesota. They're petrified. They don't care anything about Gaza or the people of Gaza. It's Minnesota. They don't want to be hit with one of these none of the above votes. Raul says, your kaleidoscopic disquisitions are wonderful. Thank you. I like that. I speak the way I normally speak with most folks. Now, so that's that, okay? Let's move on to what's happening. President Trump was on with, I just heard him before, he was on Fox and Friends or something. That's very good. He is so lucid compared to that horror show last night. Next, speaking of the horror show, Joe Biden is looking even worse. The makeup, he is going down hard. And if you start to see it in the eyes, and when you see it in the eyes, I get very, very scared. I don't know what happened to him and what was the turn for the worse, but he is really, really, really bad. Let me ask you something, my dear friend, as I've told you very specifically. There are 179 days until the inauguration. Does anybody here believe? Does anybody believe that Joe Biden can last 179 days in office? Remember, there are also 25 days until the whatever iteration the convention is going to take, and there is 103 days until the election. And we're now seeing Barack Obama, who all of a sudden is starting to show some kind of interest, at least theoretically, in what's going on. Sparky says, how do we know that Israel is not the 51st state? Because if Israel was a 51st state, they'd only control 2 senators. Oh, very good. They also somebody suggests it's not the 51st state, but it's the District of Columbia. I've got to tell you something right now, and there are many, many people who are saying this. There are many, many people who say, listen, I understand the idea of having allies. I understand that. But what is with this? Most Americans say, excuse me, did I miss something here? Yes, I understand. Israel, good people. Yes. Why is this man here? Well, you don't understand, because we have to make sure. What do we have to make sure? Well, we have to make sure that Hamas doesn't. You can't stop Hamas. Hamas is an ideology. Why haven't they haven't beaten Hamas yet? Wait a minute. Since October. Here we go. Days since. It has been 292 days since October the 7th. They still haven't got the hostages? They still haven't found him? Wait a minute. What? See, this is what people are saying. They still haven't got the hostages back. They still haven't beaten Hamas. What are you doing? Don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. I don't want to get into the Israel thing, but let me just say something. This is a huge, huge deal. And if you listen, let me tell you, this is the best part to show you how complicated this is. The RNC is putting this out. It says that Kamala Harris began criticizing Israel after the October the 7th attacks, before abandoning Israel altogether. Harris praised anti-Semitic protesters who accused Israel and the U.S. of genocide and promised protesters she'd never attempt to stifle or silence them. Now think about this. There are people who are saying, wait a minute, hold it. It is genocide because of what the ICC and ICJ say, and the UN and Hamas and B'Tselem and yeah. The GOP has completely conflated any kind of objection to Israel with anti-Semitism. This is from the RNC. Kamala warned against an Israeli offensive in Rafah because she studied maps. Kamala said both sides the terrorist attack on issue. This is not binary. She parroted propaganda from the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry. This is from the RNC. She couldn't articulate why Biden planned to veto funding for Israel, nor detail basic policy positions. Kamala became the face of the national strategy to counter Islamophobia. She turned an eye as anti-Semitic Democrats terrorized Jews, rioted on college campuses, and assaulted police officers. You are not going to even believe how that particular narrative has been done. But understand something for purposes of what you're doing. We look at this in terms of the calculus. How do the Republicans deal with this? Now, the good news for President Trump is he has already said, this is my position on Israel. That's it. I'm not budging. Period. No inconsistency whatsoever. None. Wakul Aussie here said, DC, like the City of London, like the Vatican. Interesting. You know, there is no such, I'm not going to get into it right now, but if you ask most people, Zionism, they couldn't tell you what that is. They have no idea what that is. Next, I want to do something called the Costco test. I think Costco is one of the most fascinating places to look at who are these people. They got a lot of money to buy on water. My God, do they buy water? They buy water like you can't believe. They buy water. They buy water and they buy toilet paper and my God. So if I were to stop them, I'm thinking this is the kind of group of people. If I could somehow say, how many of these people do you think vote? How many of these people care? How many of these people know anything? That's the ones I want to talk to. Those are the people. They represent not the soccer mom, but the Costco voter. They have no idea who these people are. They have no earthly idea. None. I go on other shows. I talk to people. If you look at the European crowds, they live and breathe and focus on what is happening with Israel. Yesterday, I was watching it was a piece from Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate. It was so funny. They were trying to get Max, hit the camera. No, sideways. Unlock it. They were upside. No, Max, turn it. No, turn it. No, hit the monitor. No, it was great. I love stuff like that. But they were showing us pictures of people protesting. They had NYPD in Washington. Why was NYPD there? Sparky says using his CPAP. Here we go. Using his CPAP every time he sleeps, even for 3-minute naps, combined with a mortician's makeup kit, and Joe Biden could make it at least until Inauguration Day 2025. Sparky, I would also say to you that this is, and I would always defer to you, sir, and your CPAP knowledge, which is the most important, because when it comes to this is the most important thing in the world. When it comes to continuous positive airway pressure machines. I absolutely nobody is going to even begin to confront, to challenge, or even approximate your knowledge, your veritable suppository of knowledge that you have regarding that. I think, however, it is something that even CPAP cannot help. And I'm no expert in this. I think, dear friend, I think that it is something that is so monumentally, oh, I don't know what the word is, so beyond that. I don't think that is going to help in the least. I think it is one of these days. And I don't mean to be morbid. I don't mean to be uh one of these people who I've been hearing some of the worst stuff that people have been saying about Kamala Harris. I swear to you, I understand it. There are people who are just vicious about her prior life, where she was 30, Willie Brown, why she doesn't have children. She's an old cat lady. Back off this stuff. You know, JD Vance was. Let me tell you something. JD Vance is not what you think he is. JD Vance, according to all the numbers, he actually went down. He took a negative bounce, if that's even a bounce, after this. My advice to all Republicans, you've got so much to work for. Stay off of her family. Stay off of the fact that her husband's white. She's just stay off that. It doesn't matter. You've got such a rich, a veritable endless litany, a just this absolutely incredible group of talk about. And there's nothing to do about personal. Now I recognize and I understand sometimes it's very difficult for people not to be mean because there's something about what happens. I don't know why, but people get real mean on this. And it's time for us. We don't need to be mean. And that goes double for President Trump. You don't go after her looks, her age, her family, Montello, Willie, any of this stuff. It doesn't matter. Talk about her record. Talk about that she was fundamentally and intellectually unable to handle this. Talk about the fact that she is without the ability to even mimic, even approximate a conversance with the issues. That's what you've got to talk about. Talk to her about being a border czar. Let her record do the work for her. Let her momentum. You know, somebody said in the old days, and these wonderful. I don't want to sound like uh, uh, Sean Hannity, who was all of a sudden he was. Remember when he became Mister? I don't know if he's doing this, but years ago he was all of a sudden Mister Martial Arts. He had on one time Michael Baden about a certain person who was dispatched in a federal holding cell. And Sean was going on and on about how, well, you know, the rear naked choke. You see, in my extensive martial arts, if something happens about people like, uh, I guess, Zuckerberg and Lex Friedman, and I mean, Joe Rogan's been doing this for a long time, but all of a sudden they just discover jujitsu in their 60s. I'm thinking, or 50s. Why? All of a sudden they're they're martial arts experts. Okay, but going back to that, there was this one fellow who was very interesting when he was teaching this thing called Krav Maga, and I know Rogan speaks negative things. He says, this one guy's name was Ron Mizrahi, and he said to me, "The only rule," he goes, "the rule about, biting is simple. Make sure your teeth connect. You want the prize? You want the trophy? Go someplace. You want the trophy? Go someplace. First rule of a bar fight, get out of it. Get out." It's very, very practical. But one thing he said was, if somebody's coming after you, use their momentum. Step out of their way and push them into the wall. They're running. They can't stop. What are you gonna do? Stand in front of them and try to hit force against force? No. Jump out of the way and let them. Well, the same thing is with Kamala. Let her words destroy her. Don't go after her private life. Ryan says, "Is the media's love fest for Kamala their pushing of the latest, Ipsos, poll, where she is clearly losing in the aggregate, especially in the swing states, a strategy of a astroturfing her popularity?" 100%. Absolutely, positively, without a doubt. Christian Janus says, "Since when does a prosecutor raise bail for the person arrested? Harris is a flip-flopper." Oh, she has no earthly idea. No earthly idea. Thank you. By the by, go to, Real Clear Politics, as I told you to do every single day. Very, very critical. What are we looking at? Well, in the Real Clear, the RCP poll average, Trump against Harris, Trump is up by 1.7 points. This is after the sugar high, okay? Five-way RCP average, he's up by almost 3 points. Favorability, he's up by 2.7, almost 3 points. In the battleground states, in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, he is up all the way across. Lowest, is in Wisconsin with point 0.7, almost a point, but Pennsylvania, almost 4 points. Michigan, 1.5. Arizona, 6.5. Georgia, 4.5. This is what keep in mind, keep watching, keep disapproval rates, 57 for the Democrats. Direction of the country, wrong track, 67. So let me explain something to you. And also just get an idea for what's going on. This is very interesting. As you know, and you pointed it out, the various media are apparat. These are proxies who are assigned specific. Oh, check 1, 2, 3. Something wrong with the mic? Is the mic okay? Audio scratchy? Hmm, interesting. Looks good to me. Is that any better? Let me see. Thank you, OA. I like that. OA says, "Something wrong with your mic." Is this any better? Let me know. Sometimes we get this, it says you're in and out. There's a joke there somewhere. What do you think? Oh, wait a second. Let me let you know. Chug water Lionel. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay, let me see something. Let me see something here. Just a second. Hey, my friends. Let me get oh, wait a second. You see, you move, it goes in and out. These are incredible. I love this gain too high, my clipping. I love the gain. There's no gain. I don't have gain. There's no gain here. Still dropping. Hang on. Mike's still bad. All right, hang on a second. It's clearer than tin can effect than clear. Yeah, not good. Well, we'll see what happens. I have not affected anything. Sometimes there are a variety of factors stabilizing. There's Jason. I like this. It's better. Faye says it's better. Sometimes these things are intermittent, like murmuration. Well, it's not the gain. It's not this. It's the hang on a minute here. Let me see this here. Let me see if this makes any difference. We'll give that a shot. I haven't touched that button since I bought the mic. I never adjust it. Sparky says Kamala's political faction of the establishment must be at odds with Biden's faction of the establishment. Otherwise, I can't figure out why they didn't turn over the reins to her a year or two ago. Absolutely, positively, 100%. That make any sense? Sounds better. Good. I t- I t- whatever it is, thank you. I'm glad it's working. Okay. Now, what's happening next? is I want you to go and look at Real Clear Politics. Look at these great stories. I love this. Philip Wigman writes, "In the Oval Office, Biden finally admits it's over." Jesse Waters from Fox News writes, "Damage control for a failed presidency." Well, you kinda know this. Here we go. Uh, MSNBC writes, "Biden should have given this speech a year ago." Sean Trent from RCP says, "Republicans should expect Harris to make it a closer race." Casey Hunt from CNN says, "Did Dems make a mistake by denying voters a primary process?" Absolutely. FBI crisis of comment. What does Biden do now? Will Biden relinquish the presidency? Yes, he has to. This is what I'm telling you. Let me see. There's a couple other ones here. Um, in her campaign debut, Kamala is steering left. See, these are really, really scary things right now. And what people are bringing up, which is very important, is they're trying to show you that by virtue of this sheer and unmitigated lunacy, there's this confusion. I mean, where does she go? What does she do? That was wonderful the other day. Wonderful the other night. Wonderful. That's terrific. Good for you. Thanks, Joe. What happens next? So, Biden sitting back, he's gone. Do not be surprised if one day, this is terrible to say, but one day we just say, you will hear something like, "He will be missed." You will not see Jill Biden anymore. You understand? You are not gonna see Jill Biden. You're not gonna hear the name Hunter. You're not going to hear anything, because the next thing they have to do is immediately move her into the office. Now, this has to be also coordinated with Barack Obama, who, for reasons I will never understand, has said nothing about it. Now, remember what I'm saying. I'm gonna go back. I'm only thinking about the undecided and independents. Those are the people that mean something. Brad Rung said, "You've been spot on with all your knowledge. How do you do it? Been watching you for years and love the knowledge and advice you give us. Thank you." Brad, that means a lot to me. What I'm trying to do is to maintain your mental health, because if you watch all these interstitial things, like I'm serious. I got to check, and Fox News had on Newt Gingrich. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I don't. This doesn't mean anything to me. I want to hear what other people are saying. I want to hear, and I want to try to remember what somebody said one time. It's like standing outside of a stadium, listening to the crowd, and trying to guess the score. Where are they going to go right now? Next move is, what about they're pushing for a debate. Kamala is going to run from a debate from Trump as far as she cannot. She should have been, for this entire time, she should have been spending on all her time off doing, um, classes, efforts, training on how to speak. You're gonna be hearing her lose that laugh. That laugh is that's her her safety belt, so to speak. It's her safety cushion. It's her rabbit's foot. It's the thing she only knows. Uh, why Shooty says, "If Kamala becomes, rather, acting president, if Biden steps down, then does she become the 47th president? Yes. Then will Trump be the 48th president when he wins? Yes, absolutely." And there is no, it's a good question. And they call it the Tyler president after John Tyler. She is the president. She is the president. Gerald Ford was the president when Nixon left. Oh, yeah. And she's an incumbent, and she's called Madam President. Charlie Calais says, "I heard Jill is in France, question mark." She's gone. She's miffed, she's angry, and let me tell you this, I don't wanna get personal. I really, it's not my thing. I don't really, but sometimes from a just a it from a gospel point of view, Jill would absolutely say, "I am not gonna hang around with this loser anymore. I've sucked this heat dry. There's nothing left. I've got nothing. I'm not gonna be in Rehoboth Beach. Nobody wants me. I'm not doing any more Vogue covers. Nobody's calling me beautiful. I'm nothing. I am 0." She could pick up the phone and remember, Michelle Obama is a different story. Michelle Obama didn't need this to make her name. Michelle Obama, with all the jokes people, throw at her, Michelle Obama says, "I'm fine with it. We did 2 terms, and I just wanna, be Oprah and live in, Martha's Vineyard, and that's fine. I'm cool with it." Jill is not that way. Brad Rung says Trump will next sue for red hats that say 45, 47. What's interesting, um, it's it's when John Tyler, 1841, succeeded after William Henry Harrison died, the famous William Henry Harrison, who didn't wear his coat, his jacket, who caught a cold, immediately died, like 9 days later or whatever the hell. There was a question as, well, is he the does he merely pick up where he left off? I mean, it was the strangest thing. Remember the 22nd Amendment came along, which basically provided for, um, the section because they wanted FDR out. They said, "Full 20" was in 1965. I and another Congress tried to fine-tune the amendment, which meant incapacity. Sparky said, "The laugh is her security blanket." Yes, security blanket. It's also it's an affectation, it's a tick, it's a tell, it's it's an affectation, it's an expression, it's a reflex, it's a tick, it's 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 the way she normally, uh it's her thing when in person put it this way, it takes it's not good when the impersonator can figure you out in a minute. There are people who never out of all the work, they never figured they couldn't do Jerry Ford. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Rich Little, nobody could do it. His voice had nothing. They just couldn't get it. Obama was whenever somebody first gets it, everybody hates that person. Raul Rodriguez says, "Will Kamala's salary be adjusted as president?" Yes, she is a president. She is the president. She is in history books. She is the president of the United States. It would be as though, God forbid, he died in office or worse. He is think of LBJ, think of Teddy Roosevelt after McKinley, think of, whatever. She is the president. Absolutely, and that changes every now, do they want to do this? Let's look at the factors. Number 1, Biden, there is no there's a part of us, aside from all this, as Americans, we say, "Listen, excuse me, we need somebody here. We need somebody here." It's like you went into your doctor's office and says, "Hello?" "Yeah, there's nobody here." There's gotta be somebody here. What do you do? "I'm cleaning." "Good, you'll do. Sit here." "But I'm not even a sit here." Why? Because we can't have no one here. There has to be someone here. This has never happened. Well, it has technically. Woodrow Wilson, if you think about it. Fred Rung says, "Why did they want Ford over Nixon's VP? And how do you resign first and then pick the next VP?" Will her VP pick running mate become the acting VP in 2024? Yes. Same thing that happens. A great question. Same thing that happened with, um, Nixon. Remember, Spiro Agnew, who was just like minor, remember the nattering nabobs of negativism? He I think they were gonna indict him. He was a governor of Maryland or something. He he left. Here comes Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford then succeeds to his position. And then he picks, again, one of the best trivia questions ever. Who was Jerry Ford's VP? Sparky says, "Is it nervous laughter or a maniacal laugh?" I think it's a to be honest with you, I think it is a number of things. I don't think it's mania per se, if that's the true word. Oh, before I forget, Thursday is my conference. So if I have to cut out early, normally I'm out at 9, but we've been starting earlier. So if all of a sudden I bounce out of here, please don't think me rude, okay? Please, please don't think me rude. Affectation, habit, pattern. Laughing also, in some respects, can be, and I told you, in the world of mental health and psychiatry, there is hebephrenia. It's a form of schizophrenia. I don't think she has it. It's just the idea that if you're laughing or you're emoting improperly, you're laughing at funerals, you're crying at comedies, they're just disconnected. Pseudobulbar affect is a great read. I don't wanna play, WebMD, but read Pseudobulbar affect. It's fantastic. On your own time, if you have a chance, just read that one. There's also a wonderful one. I love this. Witzelsucht. Witzelsucht is a neurological disorder where it's not really laughter, but people make inappropriate puns. People who always joke. Everything's a joke. They can't they have to it's sometimes sexually inappropriate, sometimes it's, uh, it's you can't read the room. Witzelstock, somebody said the Germans come up with a neurological disease for laughing. God Rung says, "Will this be the first time an acting president vice president will pick a vice president running mate that goes right in before the election?" Well, if you think about it, I don't know the time frame, but the timing, no, but that's what happened with Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford and Rocky ran against, our good friend Jimmy Carter. Or yeah. So this is one of those, um, what's interesting is who decides what? They don't approve it. You get to approve. In the old days at conventions, your vice president was picked for you. And also everybody's saying Mark Kelly, Mark Kelly, Mark Kelly, Mark Kelly is the guy that everybody is screaming about. Hello, Danny Sanders. Mark Kelly is just this guy. He's terrific, wonderful. I don't think vice presidents mean anything. I think people have to say they do because of what you have to say. You have to say the same thing when you're on show so that you never veer from the collective, uh, thinking. So what's gonna happen is simply this: Trump sits back, Trump watch what's happening, watch it. Push Kamala into the debate. We want Kamala to be in the debate. We want her. That will be glorious no matter what happens. What the president must do is to sandbag her and Pearl Harbor her. She doesn't know what hit her. Bring her on. This may be the only debate you have. You're gonna go in there with 3 different objectives, 3 different areas, and you wanna make sure also, you really want do you really people will not say how do I say this? Is there anyone here who honestly, truthfully questions whether there is a significant Israeli, not lobby, but a lobbying, faction. Anybody who doubts that? Brad Rung says, "I thought the VP the old days got voted in and the people could just run for that position and the president did not pick." In the old days, but we haven't had the old days forever when you actually went into conventions and didn't know who was who. Isn't that excellent question, Brad? Here's my question. What if what is and please do not insult my intelligence by saying, "What are you?" There is no Israeli lobby. I don't know if it's a lobby. It's not a Jewish lobby, but it's an Israeli lobby, like there's a gun lobby. There's um, a and a climate lobby. Okay. What access do they have? What machinery, what intel do they have if they were to see that there would be a serious, change in terms of positioning of American support for Israel? Can you imagine? Do you see what's happening? Do you see this? What would they do? You know, they haven't thought if Democrats haven't thought about it, Bibi has. What are they going to do? When you have the next president the not showing up, what would they what information is available? That's number 1. Number 2, JD Vance is connecting with Peter Thiel and Silicon Valley. What are they going to be able to do to help to make sure that Trump is reelected? What access do they have to information and the like? What access do they have? What information do they have? And what can they do in terms of information, data? I'm not saying illegal, but keep in mind, do you think it's good or bad for anybody running for president to incur the wrath of the Israeli lobby in this country? Do you think it's good or bad? How does Kamala play this? Because they're worried about Minnesota. Let's get fascinating. Sparky says, "Were there running mates when the US was young, or was the vice president the person who came in second?" I believe, and I got to check this, at the beginning of the who was George Washington's vice president? Was it John Adams? I don't even I have to go back and check. It was a little bit, but you know what? You spurred my you spurred my what's going to happen is, and I'm telling you right now, when Joe Biden leaves, you will not see a transition. There will not be Marine One taking off to go to Andrews Air Force Base to fly him back, where they say, "And that's right, uh, Peter. Air Force One is now called the tail number. Any plane the president is on is called Air Force One. Any plane. Any helicopter is called Marine One. Provided I think the Marines are running it, but I don't think if the president gets on your Cessna and says, "Booga booga, it's me. Now fly me." I don't think your Cessna becomes Air Force One. I mean, theory. But the point is, you make a big deal that the president is not the president anymore, and that he flies away a civilian. Remember the old days when the vice president and his woman, his wife, shows up? Remember when Melania showed up and looked like, Michelle wasn't even, like, dressed. "Hello, yes. Oh, yeah, thanks. What is it? You got a Tiffany something? Oh, thanks." They look so bored. But you visit, go to the White House, well, it's gonna be weird because Joe's not gonna be there. It's gonna be the strangest thing. He's just one day just not gonna show up or worse. That's all I'm telling you. Anyway, dear friends, let me run before I have to. I hate to have that I hear that, that strange sound. Sparky, you were incredible. Brad, Rum, Danny Saunders, thank you. Raul Rodriguez, Charlie Callie, of course. Why should he? Why should he? I like that. Why should he? Oh, here we go. I gotta run, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious time. I must run. We'll see you later on. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta ta.